Go ahead. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 10th anniversary celebration of the Dads on Wrestling. That's right. I didn't say not always on purpose, just like Vince said WWF last year.
Yeah.
We are celebrating today, like I said, the 10th anniversary of the initial airing of the Dads on Wrestling. It's crazy, Jeff, to think that it's been 10 years since I first started my broadcast journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had been around for a few years prior, almost a decade prior to me getting into it,
Yes.
going back to Extreme Mayhem.
Yes.
But, it's weird to think that it's been 10 years. And, yeah, there's been rocky patches, and I stopped for a while. Then I brought Renegades Reviews in an audio form. Then I stopped again, and now I've relaunched Renegades Reviews in a video form. But to think that it's been 10 years since we started this is just crazy when you think about it. And now we've got merchandise.
That's it. Crazy.
As Yogurt says, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
That's right, baby. Yeah, I it's so funny to look back at that time in my life. A lot of you know that it was very, very tumultuous back in the day around these parts. And to think that I not only had an outlet for my own personal venting and frustration over the years, but I also was able to find a kindred spirit in terms of creativity and video production and everything. And for a while, we actually were all kind of copacetic with each other. I was able to maintain doing the stuff for No DQ and still do the stuff for that would become the Cost 18 Studios channel / the Renegade Wrestling channel. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it was 10 years ago that we sat out there in the front yard of the apartment complex, me and my bright ass purple Kings jersey, you and your patriotic, let's not forget, TNA t-shirts. And here we are. TNA is no longer TNA. It's now Impact Wrestling. The Kings are 2-time Stanley Cup champions. Woot woot. And yeah, it's crazy. And we weren't really sure well, JJ was. I clearly wasn't, because I'm a terrible producer when it comes to the shit that's not really my own. What we're gonna do today is throw it out there. It's a brutal honesty, folks. What we're gonna do today is give you guys a look back, much like I did back in July when I aired the very first episode of Talk Wrestling, which did not age well at all. Goodness gracious. We're gonna give you guys a look back at what it was 10 years ago. And unlike my shows, which tend to go about 45 hours on a slow news day, the Renegade here and I tended to go pretty quickly for the most part when we did our dad shows, because we wanted to be back inside where the air conditioning was. Even in January, it was still hot as shit in Long Beach. We didn't want to be baking in my jersey and his black t-shirt, let's be honest. And we didn't have much to talk about in those first 2 or 3 episodes, because it was very simply state of the companies. And back then, the state of the companies were kind of chaotic, so we breezed through it pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only that, but me having been a new YouTube content creator,
right,
I had limits as to how long the shows could be.
This is also true.
My shows could only be 15 minutes.
Right.
So the first, I want to say, dozen, maybe close to 20 episodes that we did were all like 15 minutes. It wasn't until we started to expand and start to gather a following that we were able to do longer episodes, and our episodes would turn into half-hour, 45-minute endeavors.
Yes, exactly.
But those initial outings could only be 15 minutes. So we had to try to do our entire opinion on the state of TNA in 15 minutes.
And WWE, let's not forget that one either.
Yeah, and for WWE. And the third episode, which we're going to do the first 3 episodes because they're all so short.
Right.
The third episode we do is our Royal Rumble memories, and with about 2 minutes or so left, we're starting to get the wrap up signal, and we've still got like 6 years worth of stuff to cover.
Right.
And I just boom, 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 rattle it off real quick to try to get our shit in, brother.
That's right.
You know,
That's it. So, just so you, as you guys watch this, if you're watching on demand, we appreciate it. If you're watching live, all one of you, we appreciate that too. But
I think the one is me since I'm in there, so I can comment back to people as the videos are playing. I don't know if people are tuning in just yet, but it is what it is.
as we say on this channel on ODQ, exactly. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna play the first 3 episodes, and we'll talk about each one after. We're probably gonna comment during because we're gonna keep ourselves over here watching this shenanigans unfold. You know, hashtag shenanigans. That was our shit back then, man. So
It wasn't in the beginning,
no,
but it definitely became that early on. I do want to get this out here before we start. Okay. Our very early episodes were primarily filmed outside.
right.
So we do want to apologize in advance for any background noise that you may hear, cars driving by, whatever. We wanted to try to be a little bit different from the norm at the time. And while most shows were being done inside in studios, so to speak, we wanted to be something that stood out. So a lot of our early shows were outside. A lot of our early shows were done with a cameraman who would oftentimes shake the camera up and down or side to side if he agreed or disagreed with our statements that were being made.
Yes.
So please forgive those in advance.
Right.
That was the naivety of our early outings, and something that definitely improved later on, as we developed and got better as a team. Once it started to become more serious
Right.
and not just oh, this is fun to do to give you a break from doing talk wrestling and branch out to do something else.
Yeah. Mikey, part of it was you, but we all know who it was, and we're not gonna be an asshole. But yeah. We appreciate you throwing yourself under the bus, Mike, but that really wasn't necessary, brother. We love you. You know that.
So,
all right, here we go. God help us.
Gonna get into the first episode, the premiere episode.
Jeez, look at us. Crying out loud.
Jeff still with no hair.
Still with no hair. That's right. That hasn't changed in 10 years.
Me with shorter hair because I had to at the time. I was still working my security job.
Yes. Good Lord. Oh, boy. But,
welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the world premiere, first ever episode, Dads on Wrestling. I am one of your hosts for this show, JJ Williams, aka the Renegade of Wrestling.
And for those of you that don't know me, well, crawl from under your rock first for just 1 second.
Wow.
And I am Jeff Meacham, the host of Talk Wrestling on another website, which we'll plug in future dates, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And but JJ, called me up and said, Jeff, I don't see too many of this type of show out there. Dads, don't, give their perspective. Dads pretty much either sit there in front of their couches and go, that stuff's fake, kid. Go watch, tell their sons and daughters, that's fake anyway. Or they're at the live events acting worse than their kids.
It's very true.
Either way, there's no intelligent conversation coming from dads on wrestling. So I figured, you know what? Let's change that.
And with this modern era being a quote-unquote PG era, being all about the kids and kids friendly and trying to rope the youth into watching what is essentially a very violent sport, we thought that we'd get together and over the coming weeks and months kind of get into how PG this really is. Looking at you, Vince.
Which is ironic because our first show was about not Vince, but
the other Vince,
Russo and everybody else.
And Pixie and Hulk,
yeah.
TNA. We are going to do a state of TNA address for you.
And the reason we're doing that is because we are fresh off the heels of, quite frankly, a pay-per-view that, well, drastically change the course of TNA because Fortune had a goal in mind Sunday night. Immortal had a goal Sunday night. Consolidate all the titles under their control, and they had it. They had it in the bag, man.
Until
the main event.
we'll get to that. In a minute.
We'll get to that.
But first, let's run through the champions real quick.
Right.
So you've got Abyss now, the new TNA television champion. Which, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad Abyss has a strap. Abyss has been with the company way too long.
Right.
He is a monster, and they've always overlooked him or just kind of used him as a transitional champion.
True.
I am very glad to see Abyss with gold. Let's see how long he holds it.
True, but let's look at it from this perspective though. Had AJ not got hurt,
this is true.
It wouldn't have happened. AJ would have regained the television title Sunday night.
Which, in all honesty, I wouldn't be as happy about. I love AJ Styles to death.
We all do.
But he's been the champion like every single month throughout his entire run with TNA. He X Division, Tag Team, World Title, TNA Champion, NWA Champion. The list goes on and on. The dude's held every single belt. Even Jeff Jarrett has not done that.
Right.
AJ Styles has always got gold on his waist because he is simply phenomenal.
Still is.
So I don't think I'd have been as happy if AJ had walked out with the gold as I am about Abyss.
And also,
Abyss has kind of been there since the beginning too, and is constantly overlooked. It's kind of like the way they do Kane in WWE.
Very true.
They push him heavy as a heel, and then they let him get close to the title, and then they pull him back.
Right.
And then they push him to get close to the title, and then they pull him back.
Right.
Now Abyss finally has gold. Kaz, Kazarian, our good buddy.
The coolest wrestler alive, as voted by the fans of the L Show.
That's right.
Jimmy.
And the best around.
The best around. That's right.
None's gonna ever keep you down, Kazarian.
They're both still wrestling. AJ and Frankie.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And I just gotta say, Frankie, I know you're not watching, but if you are watching, great pre-show interview with SoCal Val. They did an interview on TNA Wrestling on YouTube.
Yeah, I missed it because I had to
put over Val.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it wasn't even on
Everyone always said how much I hated
Val kept trying to ask him
Rift and No DQ, but I plugged the shit out of that stuff on the show.
He kept diverting poor Val, and at
Yeah,
one
I
point,
wouldn't say the name.
he
You're
talked
already
about
saying
the
it.
Falcons football, and she goes, "Well, I don't watch baseball." But anyway, I was like, "Oh, Val, that's Val."
Val is the epitome of epic fail.
Yeah.
I love her to death.
We love Val.
We
love Val.
I think Val.
Okay, now we're getting honest. At least that's good. Okay.
Got to bring the face palm back at least for one episode on this one.
Exactly. You know, it's not back all the time on Talk
Kazarian,
Wrestling. So
kudos to you on becoming the
Frankie.
X Division champion again.
The only title change the only lack of title change that bothered me was Mickey.
True, but in TNA's defense, I'm a little over somebody from WWE getting fired and released, coming to TNA and getting a strap put on them. I'm glad that they're waiting a little bit more so that when Mickey does finally get her strap, it means something.
Donate as well.
I would rather them give it to her from Tara.
True, but you have to understand the way they've, in my opinion, the way they set this up, Madison just kept throwing Tara in front of her and throwing Tara in front of her. And Mickey finally had to Thez press Tara off of the cage and practically break Tara's arm to shut her down.
Yeah.
That should have been like, okay, Tara's out of the way. Madison should just be rolling. That's just me. That's just me. And plus, Mickey should be, if anybody, Gail couldn't do it because Vince was an idiot. McMahon, not Russo, although Russo's. Gail should have been the one to do it, but if she can't, let Mickey be the one to be the first to win all three.
Yes.
And they didn't do it Sunday night, so bugs me.
And they never did.
Beer Money tag titles again. Not impressed.
I know you're not.
Oh wait,
I have nothing but the utmost respect for Robert Roode and James Storm.
Right.
But really, these guys have had a stranglehold on their tag team division for the better part of the last 2 years.
Right.
I'm over them as champions.
Oh, jeez.
Well, nobody loves the Motor City Machine Guns more than me. They've been great to us going up to PWG.
Yes,
They've been great to, Alex Shelley looked right at my fiance and said, "You're cool," in the middle of a match. He got up on the
That's
top
awesome.
rope and kind of staggered up, looked at
My
Jay.
fiance,
And again, whoop that ass. I don't remember who was working there. I don't even remember who was working. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because Alex Shelley said Jay was cool.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing.
Nope, fired. That's it. That's her name. That's it.
When the stated goal of the heel faction, the faction supposed to be ruling the company is
I'm fired.
all the belts are ours. Somebody's gonna fall. Somebody's gonna fall.
Yeah.
So the machine guns fall.
I just hope that Generation B is next to Block.
That was
Generation
The problem is
Yes!
that both teams are heel.
That's
First one is
fantastic.
Babyface. Which, if of those two,
It's got to be Generation B.
yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, no doubt about
Gotta
that.
be.
Gotta be the
Oh.
Bucks.
I mean, how can you not be a babyface when you've got Tara as your cougar? I'm just saying,
That's right, baby.
Tara's a hot piece of ass.
Exactly.
Just throwing that out there.
Throwing it out there,
Still is.
So
Free throw.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it wasn't a title change, but there were two matches out there that kind of went to a complete clusterfuck of a finish.
Yeah.
Bubba and
We knew they
Devon.
would anyways.
Yeah, Bubba and Devon ended the DQ because Devon couldn't hold himself back, and Bubba, just got his ass whooped, and
Yeah.
the referee disqualified Devon. They're going to go to probably lockdown, just beat the
Yeah.
crap out of each other in a cage. Which, honestly, if you're going to break up the greatest tag team in modern history, or recent memory, I mean, let them go for a minute.
And it won't just be inside a cage. It's got to be tables
Tape
in a cage.
or TLC scene. There you go. Just break up the
Something
TLC
about
scene.
Bubba's badass climbing a ladder just never really appealed to me. I know he's been in the matches, but
Right.
and
Well-
Devon with his heights issue, I'm just throwing that out there. Just make it tables in a cage.
That's true because if it's ladder, what are they fighting for to climb the ladder?
Exactly.
I think about
The
that.
Dudleys are the table match.
True.
Bottom line.
And then you have the mess of a MMA exhibition.
Yeah.
Angle and Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, I love you. When I was getting into wrestling, everyone started calling me Double J because JJ, Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
And back then, I didn't really like it because I'm like, dude's a tool.
Yeah.
Fuck Jeff Jarrett.
Let's see. 98, he went from being a decent heel in WCW in 97. Came back in late 97 and said, I'm not going to be
There's the chick. There it is.
anymore. I'm just going to be Jeff Jarrett. Within 6 months, he's back singing with Timothy Lee as his agent. Throwing that out there. So for him to, yeah.
And then he's getting his head shaved by freaking Howard
Finkel at
Finkel.
SummerSlam.
And then he's with Owen Hart. Greatest thing he did in that ring. Just
Right.
throwing that out there.
Toward the end.
But
In TNA,
Jarrett, you're not a mixed martial artist, dude. You have a figure 4 leg lock that hardly makes you a submission expert.
but yet Ric Flair is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. According to WWE.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But he's been doing that for years.
true.
While we're on the title picture, though, the TNA Knockouts tag team,
Was not defended Sunday night,
it wasn't.
but it's now in the hands of Angelina Love and
Winter.
one of our favorite people in the world, Winter, Katie
Katie
Lee, Katrine, whatever the hell her name is.
Love Katie.
Katie is
WWE
awesome.
totally missed the boat
They
with
messed
her.
that up. And I like the
We'll stand
fact
by that one.
you are still a
Yeah.
unit, but Velvet's off doing her thing with Sarita, trying to get revenge, all that. And Angelina is being Scott, but it's still a great team because Angelina and Winter are awesome.
Yes.
So,
yes.
and then
Brings us to the world title.
yes, the world title was contested toward the end of the pay-per-view, but
Yes.
first we had to decide, okay, who's
the
number one
number one
contender? And Anderson pulled it out, man. I got to give Anderson props, pulling out over Matt Morgan. Somewhat, cleanly
Not
guaranteed.
good.
He ain't saying he couldn't win anymore.
Yeah.
But Anderson pulled it off, and Bischoff thought he would swag out there. Okay, you get your title shot right now. Here
And
comes Jeff.
I know our cameraman Aaron here is
Oh, here we go.
a big fan of Green Bay, Wisconsin, but that just means that the Packers and Anderson both came up strong
That's right.
on Sunday.
I guarantee.
Once again, I'm throwing that out there.
I guarantee Ken's gonna go out and make sure he gets a Mr. Anderson jersey made up and wear it on Impact tonight or tomorrow, whenever
For sure.
they say that, whenever it's
For
gonna
sure.
be. That's gonna be awesome. And we forgot to mention one other person, one of your favorite people in wrestling, debuted on
Yes.
Sunday night
Yes.
against my favorite wrestler of all time, one of them.
V1 is
And Matt
now
won.
officially in TNA.
Now, is his name Matt Hardy, or is it Matt Reeks, or is it Tyler Hardy, or how is that
I don't know.
working?
I've heard about that. Matt Hardy now rocking the dreadlocks.
I'm wrong for that.
Haven't seen the pictures or the video yet.
Very
but
much so.
Matt
It's all right. They'll still fun.
Wash your hair. That's all I'm doing.
Seriously, between Matt's dreads and Jeff's, whatever you want to call Jeff's haircut, you know, makes me glad I got less every day.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway, that's where TNA is going into the beginning of 2011. Every title has changed hands now. Everyone has changed hands. The knockouts tag toward the end. The only one that still keeps holding strong is Madison, which matter of time. Yeah, matter of time.
Where do you want to see TNA go in the next couple months?
Keep going. Keep making things happen. If Fortune and Immortal are going to be the dominant faction, then let them dominate. But, you know, like you said, chink in the armor. Anderson just drove a huge divot into the armor of Immortal the other night. So let's just see how they react. Will Bischoff come out on Impact and go, well, you know, I told you guys all the titles, so Jeff, out of here. Or will Bischoff go, okay, Hardy failed as a world champion for us, put Jeff back together. Push that. Maybe they'll say, well, you know, Beer Money, maybe they'll take your opinion. Well, Beer Money, you've been champions a minute. Just go ahead and give the belts to the Hardys. Beer Money will go, no. And then one of them will turn babyface. Maybe Beer Money will have enough of this crap and go, you know what? We've been your bitches long enough.
So you're kind of thinking that Immortal may do kind of what Nexus did a few months back, where Wade Barrett ordered Otunga and Cena to drop the belts to Slater and Gabriel.
And Beer Money, unlike Otunga, will actually grow a set and go, no.
Damn.
And the trimming of the fat will happen.
Oh,
Maybe look
keep that part down. Shit.
We'll see what happens. Very interesting. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think that TNA, you know, for all its flaws, and let's admit there's a ton of them,
Ooh.
a ton of them. Yes. For all of TNA's flaws, I think that last night was a stepping stone in the right direction.
Definitely.
You have quite possibly the greatest faction ever. Bold statement, I know, but true. Quite possibly the greatest faction ever on your show right now, in the fact that it's basically the New World Order and the Four Horsemen together.
Right.
Granted, they're knockoffs. It's not the Horsemen. It's not the NWO. But it is the closest thing that TNA has to them right now. And you've got them together. Make it successful. Don't drop the ball the way WCW and TNA always has in the past.
Exactly. And also, speaking of dropping balls, the next show will be about the state of a company that, you know, quite frankly, should not be dropping the ball at this point. Even though they don't have any serious competition, they're doing it anyway. World Wrestling Entertainment, the former Wrestling Federation. Check that out next time. He's JJ Williams.
He's Jeff Meacham.
And this is Dad's on Wrestling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. We should run it back to the beginning for the second one.
I did.
Wow. I was experienced watching that one back. Good grief.
Right?
Oh wow.
Right?
So in 2011, we move around too fast. Let's put it out there. I'm still horn dog, but then we totally buried her about 5 seconds later, which is just tremendous. And then Matt Hardy's got Tyler Rex here, so there we go. That was TNA 10 years ago. Very good.
Yeah.
I love how he said Mr. Anderson put a huge divot. He was champion for what, 5 seconds? Like for real.
Pretty much.
Right back. Golly. Man. And for real, that second to last car, that car's like this big. How the hell did it sound like it was a freaking truck going down the street? Like, Jesus. Take your car to the mechanic, mother. Holy crap. What a dick. Messing up my shit with your lame ass car. Oh,
Anyways.
That was
But
awesome.
dude, like, it's fun to go back at that stuff and see how well or poorly it's aged. Like,
yeah. And with us too, man, we are so unpolished. It is so bad.
well, it was the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
we had been friends for a while.
Yeah.
We had, you had been over to the house. We had wrestling conversation back and forth.
Right.
But we had never tried anything like that before as the two of us, as a unit.
Yeah.
You get in there and you start getting into, like I said, when we started to expand the shows, you start to get into that dozen, that 20 mark where we've gotten this rapport under our belts. And man, the shows are so much crisper and cleaner.
Oh man. By and large.
But to watch those, like, it's good for you every now and again to just go back and laugh at yourself like that. I mean, here I was, okay, keep in mind, like you said, 10 years ago, here I am standing next to the great and powerful Jeff Meacham, from NoDQ.com,
Yep.
where, like I said, at the time, everyone swore that I hated Rift and NoDQ, and like I was trying to steal you from him,
Yeah.
which never was the case.
No, ever.
Granted, we did end up taking you from him, but there was a lot of shenanigans and stuff that went down
There
to
was
lead
a
to
lot
that.
of shit that was going on in
Which,
2011 that
yeah,
was not.
I'm not bringing that up to Resurrected. I don't want to
I know,
get into
I
the
know, I know.
details of it.
Right.
But like the early outings, like, man, I was trying to give No DQ and Rift like a ton of props because I wanted him to try and promote us in this side project you were doing.
Yep. Exactly. It never worked out that way, unfortunately. So, but that's okay. You know what? It worked out because a lot of the stuff that was happening that led to my eventual departure from No DQ and subsequent doubling down with you guys, it got pushed under the bridge. As we say, it is what it is now. I work great with him, working great with you, and I get my own network, which is the best part. I love that I have control of my own destiny, which I've always sought for as long as I've been doing this, and it's great that I'm able to dictate what I do and what I don't do. That's the ultimate goal. When you start your own business and you do your own thing, you want to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, I'm not doing this. And it's taken me, 10 years from then, almost. So I think it's wonderful that we can look back and go, man, that was something. It was an experience. And it's very weird to go back and watch us 10 years ago, other than my hairstyle, which hasn't changed since roughly then. Anyway, like a lot has changed. We have different perspectives on stuff. If we were to go back into the state of Company A here, it would be grossly different because Impact Wrestling, by and large, is not even the number 2 company in the world anymore at all. It's barely hanging on there at a number 3 neck and neck with like a lot of other people because the scope, the scene of the game has changed so much since their rapid decline following the arrival of Hogan and the advent of AEW and the resurrection for the 45th time of the NWA and Ring of Honor having their problems. And it's just so weird to think that, TNA really hasn't done a whole lot, I feel, to shoot themselves in the proverbial foot. It's just that WWE was just such a freaking force even 10 years ago and into the first half of the last decade. They were still cooking with gas. And AEW really just, came out of the ashes of what had been several careers. Hearing us say Generation Me just makes me friggin' chuckle like a school kid because Matt and Nick are probably looking back now going, Jesus Christ, so bad. And the fact that they were like basically Lisa Marie Varen's like little bitches, like that's the best part of that whole thing. That's but yeah, the Bucks are doing what they're doing now, and AEW and Impact. Like I said, Impact is definitely. I watch Impact show on Tuesdays. It's nowhere near as bad as I thought it had been since I stopped watching full time, and I regret not giving them a better chance when I didn't. And I'm glad I'm doing that now because they are better than I have given them credit for. I do look forward to Saturday's pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. I did watch their last year's Hard to Kill because of the big thing with Tessa possibly becoming the first female world champion, which she did. It's been a very interesting year for Impact in that year since Tessa became the champion. Yes, we had the pandemic. Yes, it's been a crazy year in general, right? But yeah, it's crazy to see how far Impact has gone, and honestly, how much they've kind of just stayed status quo in that year. But they still have great in-ring work. They're still doing very well for themselves overall. So based on that, we saw where TNA was 10 years ago. Now, like I said, I've not watched these. I purposely didn't watch it. I want to see what I say. So I'm looking forward to see what we said of it 10 years ago. I'm very curious.
And I only pre-watched these just because I wanted to have a general idea of what we talked about. And when I saw the first episode was State of TNA, it was like, well, it's kind of not fair to do just that with the 10th anniversary and then not go to episode 2
right.
and do what WWE was doing. And
Right.
then I got to episode 3 and I saw that it was Rumble stuff. And it's like, well, this is Rumble month.
Right.
We may as well take a look at that too.
Exactly.
And see how much that, our opinions and stuff have changed, because when watching it back, I'm like, I know for a fact your opinion has changed on a couple of different things that we talked about on that episode.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to kind of have the watermark of what you said,
yeah,
and how you feel now. So
exactly.
Episode 2, though.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes, I am ready. Let me get the audio going here. Hang on a second. All right, you are clear, boss.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of DADS on Wrestling. I am your co-host, JJ Williams, aka the Renegade of Wrestling.
Jeff Meacham, host of Talk Wrestling and owner, property of NoDQ.com. I didn't do this last show, and Aaron got mad at me for not displaying the fact that I actually work for him. I was just doing your show for free, our show for free.
Yes.
Because I'm actually plugging Renegade of Wrestling while doing this show. I'll also be plugging Renegade on Talk Wrestling when I can, when the other Aaron doesn't.
When the higher ups don't bark.
When the higher ups don't bark at me. Thank you very much. Anyway,
Aaron, we're not trying to steal him from you here. Good friends for many years, so.
Almost as long as I've known you, actually, Rick.
Yeah.
When we started doing XMV, about 6 months later, I met this guy. So
He's just on loan. We've kind of been talking about doing a show together for years. Bob's Big Boy, after SummerSlam, was kind of like my official debut.
The pitch, if you
interacting
will.
with him.
Yes.
And it's just kind of spawned off since then. So.
But we don't talk about Bob anymore.
Yeah. I apologize, Aaron. Not stealing him. NoDQ.com, your only source for wrestling news and rumors.
That's right. The only.
Anyways.
There was great TNA coverage of the show that we talked about on the first show. So but we're going to
Right
switch gears now.
Get into the state of the WWE address.
You wear the No DQ shirt on the other channel. It's fantastic. Fucking boss.
And
just like there's lots of pros and cons about TNA.
Yes,
there really are.
We did. That's true.
I know you don't usually get a lot into TNA detail on your normal show, Jeff.
I don't, and the reason for that is, people seem to have the impression that Aaron and I despise TNA and we don't cover TNA properly and blah blah blah. Well, maybe he does, but Aaron doesn't like a lot of things. I still do my show anyway. So,
damn shit.
The truth is, TNA doesn't do enough. Oh my God, stuff.
This is very true, and that's where
to make us jump out of our seats.
That's where the state of
WWE will go from.
They couldn't have Elix skip or walk the 6 sides of steel every episode.
Right.
First Raw this year, they'll jump out of the gate with a Falls Count Anywhere match. Holy crap! And even with A-Ride's involvement, yes, Miz had to cheat to win. He's a heel. Where did it? We had a whole hour discussion about this at the house earlier.
Yeah. Before taping.
We did.
So we're gonna try not to get into that too much.
We're trying to get too much. If we go an hour, we'll be like doing 5 shows at once here. Yeah. Flair did it. Hollywood Hogan did it. All the
Triple H and
Evolution. Triple H in the game.
Get over Miz using Alex Riley to help him win.
And the bottom line is,
if you're a good heel, you've got an insurance plan. Miz is named Alex Riley. That's bottom line.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that match itself, Morrison neutralized the plan halfway through the match. He put
more than halfway. It's like a quarter of the way.
Yeah. Listen to that. Yeah, he sent Riley's teeth to the back before Riley got there.
This is very true.
Boom!
Which talking about Miz is good, because the first thing that we wanted to discuss about were the champions, and I think we kind of spent enough time on the Miz.
Right.
I'm sure in future shows, if they haven't already grasped from you on Talk Wrestling how big of a Miz fan you are, you'll definitely grasp from me. I'm a huge Miz fan too.
I am a Misfit.
Have
proud
been
of it.
for
Proud car carrying.
Yes, not Misfits in action like the Portal WCW. No, we are true Misfits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I was a Misfit when he was jobbing in UPW to Diamond Dallas Page.
This is very true.
Okay.
This is very true.
I like.
We thought he should have won Tough Enough. Okay. Keep in mind, the runner-up is who you still know.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Pewter, of course. Nobody remembers that because he went to MMA and then he sucked.
The way I remember Pewters, I think of Lois Griffin's pre-married name, Pewter Schmidt.
Peter
Family
Schmidt.
Guy?
Very good. Yes.
So it's Daniel Peter Schmidt.
There you go. Well, in that case, he's a cartoon character himself. He's where he belongs.
I don't even really watch
all right.
Family Guy
Aside
anymore.
from
Jesus
the
Christ.
world heavyweight champion right now,
Edge. I was so happy when this happened at TLC. Long overdue. Edge has been without a title since June of 09.
Yeah.
Same title, actually.
Edge should have beaten Jericho at WrestleMania, personally. What was the point of his storied comeback in the Rumble, go to WrestleMania to fall?
And then right after that,
Pointless.
his whole
Then he turned heel.
comeback, babyface momentum gets
Here we go with the
negated
camera.
when he spears Orton on Raw. Like,
Then he turns heel, and now he's back face again. But now he's kind of a tweener.
which is fine because the tweener Edge is attacking the Raw GM's computer, which is the best thing to ever happen ever. And you heard the GM.
Okay, that's enough of that. Jesus Christ.
Do something, call. I was like, that was funny. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
I kind of sense that Edge is going to win with him and Christian being matched.
Oh yeah, for sure. He deserved that, dude. I wanted to go give that Slammy to him personally because I hate the GM gimmick at this point. I've always hated Michael Cole. Michael Cole and I go back 13 years of dislike. Okay.
Damn you, Cole.
And you know what? I know Michael doesn't like me because he doesn't respond.
Michael Cole, you're the reason this man has no hair.
I have a 2-year-old son, and I watch Michael Cole. Right there.
Oh my God.
Get up and get Cole.
From Edge, let's move to the United States champion, Daniel Bryan.
Another one I'm happy with. I've been
Yes.
happy with this since it happened. We like The Miz, but Bryan, I refuse to call him Bryan. I don't
Me
care.
too. Bryan
Danielson, for those of you WWE that can't figure out that we still know him by his real name.
Like he said in that promo when he got eliminated from NXT. I've been looking online, and all I see of Daniel Bryan is this guy from NXT, but I saw this one guy named Bryan Danielson, and he used to kick some ass.
Yeah, and the problem is when they brought him back, he was still Daniel Bryan. And it's like when he came out at SummerSlam, I was waiting for him to say Bryan Danielson. They went Daniel Bryan. I went,
Really? They failed. They had a huge corner turn there for Bryan to go back to being himself.
because Daniel Bryan is a great U.S. champion.
He's the American Dragon.
He's the American Dragon, but he comes out smiling, accompanied by the Bella Twins. Lucky bastard, by the way. But Bryan Danielson would come
Oh jeez. They don't
out,
age well at all.
out of the crowd.
One of them that he did eventually
The
bury.
bell rang. It was on like Donkey Kong. Over. Serious. 2 minutes to cow mutilation right there. It was over.
Which, seriously, Bryan, if you see this, bring it back.
Please bring it
I
back.
want to see the cattle mutilation at WrestleMania.
Do it on Cole, please. Please put it on
That's
Michael
what you
Cole.
should have done in the first place. Instead of choking him out with his tie,
You should have put it
you
in
should
the
have
cow
done cattle
mutilation.
mutilation.
Yes. Just grab my name and then put the cow mutilation on. That should have been it right there. Cole would have been finished. Screw Justin Roberts. He's a cannon fodder. Michael Cole is a target.
Kofi Kingston, the new Intercontinental.
As of, was it last week?
Yeah.
Last week. Awesome. I love Kofi. I don't like that Dolph lost the Intercontinental title, but I do like he's #1 contender of the world title.
Yes.
Because I've liked Dolph. He's not one of those guys where he was in the same category as Miz, where very few liked him in my circle, or like everybody at your house liked him. Everybody loves Dolph at your house. And
Honestly, I kind of first noticed Dolph when he was Kerwin White's bitch.
yeah.
Yeah, y'all forget that was him, huh?
And then
I
he was-
noticed him then.
and then of course the Spirits.
And then there was the Spirit Squad with Nikki! Whatever.
But the problem with the Spirit Squad is only Kenny got the huge rub off of that, and he went on a single.
But anybody that watched the industry could tell that Nikki and Kenny were the two with the most talent.
Oh yeah,
Kenny got the immediate push because he was the son of a wrestler.
exactly. That's right.
Nikki got sent back to OVW and FCW for repackaging,
In the
which
great
then became Nikki.
right. And when he came back from FCW as Dolph Ziggler with the handshake, I was going stupid.
But it caught on and it made people notice him.
It did, and then he wrestled, and it was like, whoa! I forgot he could do this.
The one thing that I really liked about the whole handshake gimmick when he started it is that you read all around about how you're a rookie, when you first come into a locker room, you're supposed to introduce yourself to all the guys backstage. It's respect.
He did
The fact, the fact that they brought that tradition to television, I marked out for that.
Right.
I haven't been a fan nearly as long as you, and I know we got into that a little bit in the first episode, but to see a tradition like that brought to the forefront, huge.
Yeah. To this day, I walk into any locker room. I've been involved in the performance side of the business now for 3.5 years.
Heaven forbid that video.
Yeah, God, never again. I walk into a locker room. I don't care if it's Adam Pierce or if it's,
Brandon Parker.
Or if it's GQ Money student. Yeah. I'll shake his hand. You know why?
Exactly.
Because they're above me.
Exactly.
I'm this bitty little, at the time, promoter guy. Now I'm a manager or whatever you want to call me now. I walk in, I show respect. That's the way it is. And Dolph did that, and I got him noticed. And from there, he stepped in the ring, and the song was I Am Perfection. He had Kurt's haircut. He was Mr. Perfect reincarnated.
Yeah.
The bad part was bringing Vicky in, but
You know what? All bull aside, I love Vicky Guerrero. I love Vicky Guerrero. We're supposed to hate her inside the ring, but after personally getting to talk to her one-on-one like I did back at SummerSlam, I can't hate her anymore.
That's not what you said in rehearsal.
I really can't.
You're going to get to rehearsal too. Sorry.
I knew that you would probably balk at this a little bit, so I had to keep it from your side. I love Vicky.
Anyway.
You're Cougar Vicky. Tag team titles. Santino and Kozlov just completely killed the tag division, in my opinion. You had a strong team. Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel. Prior to that, you had the Hearts. Prior to that,
but before that was the Hearts. Before that was the Cody and Drew. Before that was the Hearts. So the Hearts were the last great tag team to hold the titles, and
I'd argue, even though they were kind of thrown together at the last minute, I'll live through that.
I love them both. But
for future world champions.
Called it.
Anyway, I like them, but I love the Hearts. I've always loved the Hearts family. So the last great tag team, in my opinion, was built around them from the get-go. Too bad. At the end of the game, you're like, oh, here's your token champion.
Like, well, WWE has not focused on the tag team division or the glory days of the Hardys.
We hear no bad stackers. That's just me.
You had solid teams come through.
I'm hearing it.
And they get overlooked. Prime time. One of the only teams that I remember become #1 contender.
Right? You know what? I think they finally did on a random
or a strong team.
Okay, the Usos beat the tag champions a week and a half ago, whatever it was, and then Santino and Cena double COVID job them. Like that's just oof right there. That's instant kill. And then you have the Divas division, which is picking up. Talia finally,
she should have been the first ever champion, but
Michelle McCool.
A certain toothpick who's going to the Undertaker got that privilege.
I wasn't gonna say. I'm trying to be big, but I stand out there.
This is a non-PG show, Jeff.
No, PC, not PG. Oh, okay. I didn't say PG. Trust me. Last thing I am is PG. Okay. Anyway, then you have exactly. Then you have Gail working again finally. You have Melina being pushed in.
What is the deal with them portraying Gail as an easy boss? I'm just curious about.
I don't know, but the footage.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I'll take hot pictures of divas any day of the week, but the way they've been dressing her on TV isn't Gail.
Maybe they'll fix it when they come in.
It's $2 Agent 4. That's what I'm waiting for her to say. I'm waiting for her to come out and come and say, "Let me
We have to feel for the spot.
Yeah, at least 5.
She makes it worth $10.
Bad.
Here, that's bad. And oh my God, they signed Kong.
I'm the mediocre coach.
They screwed up. I will straight him up his ball. I will rip them off and feed him to him forcibly. I promise I will. Because Kong is the best thing that's going to happen in this division if they do it right.
I mean, I'm curious right now to see Tamina stuff. He's been Army Candy first for the Usos, now for Santino. Tamina and Natalya have had their feud. I'd like to see him step the game up and make it a title. We'll see what happens. What was it like seeing the WWE? We had a lot more we were going to talk about, but, time's ticking.
YouTube limits
I see you, cameraman. I see you, cameraman. We can see you, cameraman.
Right. Don't trick me down back there. All right. I want to see more. I want to see more of the way they've been trending. I want to see the Miz so at least if not on anywhere else. I want to see Daniel Bryan be the U.S. champion.
Right. What's going on here? Just hang on a second.
because I wanted to check in on YouTube, and it's saying that both shows are going right now. One on my network, one on your network, with different names.
What's that?
I said, hang on. I don't know what's going on here. Hang on. I changed the name of my own damn network. Okay. Well, those of you watching on my channel, thank you. Yeah, I didn't change the name when we did this. We started this thing. Okay, so there was that. So we were having 2 streams going in the 2 feeds, which shouldn't be happening like that. Fudge. Yeah. And I can't change the name. All right. Well, you guys are watching Dad's the same show. It says test on my network and it says anniversary show on his. So I'm sorry, y'all. Let me just get rid of this because we have a huge technical issue. Yeah. All I heard was static the entire time during the second episode. All I heard was static the whole time. Like I couldn't even make out what we were saying at all. Relax, kids. Man. All right. So, first thing I want to do is get episode 3 semi-queued up because we get to work better over there. Okay. So let me do that. All right. Now. Okay. I'm watching on both stations, but I can't change the name. I don't know why. There we go. Okay. Dance. There we go. Okay.
Gotta love technology.
Yeah, see, you're sounding really shitty right now. Like that. And I don't know why. But it's bugging that it is. All right, I'm gonna try. Oh, what?
I don't know either.
Yeah. Every time you speak, I'll hear it. I can hear your voice, but it's drowned out by the crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's very, very, very sad. Very much so. All right, I'm gonna try. I don't know what I'm gonna try at this point.
Do you want me to leave the studio and come back?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to leave the studio and try and come back in?
Coming back in. Yeah, I can see what happens. This is a complete disaster. I apologize if I know you're watching. I'm sorry. Let me just try something real quick here before I bring him back in. All right. So there's that. There's that. There's that. All right. We're going to do that here. All right. I want to do that. There we go. Okay. So there's me. There's Joe. And once Renegade's camera pops up, I'll bring him in. Maybe. It's going to work. All right. Try over here. Oh, okay. I don't want to be on this setup right now. Be on that setup. No, this setup. There we go. Thank you. Come on. First.
Hello?
No.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I hear that predominantly. What the hell's going on today? All right. Well, could you hear what was being said on our episode 2?
Yes.
Okay. Because I couldn't hear anything because it was being projected through your
through your site. So what I'm going to do, I know we went through a lot of that episode already. I'm going to try it through mine just to see what happens. And if we can, and if they can hear it better, hopefully they can. What the people in the chat room are saying is that the audio messed up. It's working for me barely, but not for you or what you were presenting.
Hmm.
So I don't know why that's a thing, but it is. And it really sucks. So I'm trying now to. Nothing's working. All right. We're also going up against Aaron, which is why we don't have any viewers right now. I just realized that we're going up against Notiki. I totally forgot Notiki review was on today. So, all right. Let's try something real quick here. So one problem with live TV, you really don't know what's going to happen, folks. It isn't always the greatest thing, but it is what it is. All right. Well, I mean, I did hear us talking about The Miz going into 2011 as champion. We were very happy about that because we were huge fans of The Miz. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was WWE champion, the fact that he was able to eke out that TLC win over the great Jerry the King Lawler. And I did hear myself mention that Alex Riley was Mrs. Ace in the hole. It's like, that didn't age well at all for many reasons. Not good. I love that we're talking about Brian having both the Bellas bring him out. And it's like, you look back and go, yeah. At least
I mean, it all starts there, and now he's married to one with 2 kids. So
I was gonna say, at least he ended up marrying one of them, which was good. Nikki's relationship wasn't what they are and are what they are. I don't know if they still are what they are, but they were back then, and they have been for up until last year when she and Artem found their way to each other, which again is awesome for them and everything. But just kind of is what it is. So.
It is what it is, baby.
Is what it is, baby. So yeah, I can't get things loaded all on my end, and I don't want to have all throughout episode 3. But what we will say is this: trying to do what I can here to preserve what we have left here. It has definitely been a crazy 10 years up and down for both of us on both our channels and both our lives. Our lives together have been crazy the last 10 years and then some. So I do thank everybody who was watching either on demand or was trying to watch through this craziness live. We will attempt to do something to be a better presentation of our celebration because this show deserves a show. This show definitely was a lifeline for me when I had my falling out with No DQ back 10 years ago. And I had our differences that were created completely out of our own not from our own friendship, but from outside influences. And I am forever indebted to you and to Mikey and to Aaron Austin, and to the Casa roommates for allowing me to say what I needed to say and do what I needed to do back then. And I will stand by this statement until I am no longer doing this type of show. That had it not been for this show, Dads and Wrestling, I don't think I would have been where I am now as far as having the ability to do my own thing and maintain my own network and have the confidence in myself to realize there was life beyond No DQ. The summer of 2011 when we fell apart, and you in particular are a huge part of that. And I don't I try very hard to not downplay the importance of your impact on my professional life as far as doing these podcasts. So I do thank you for the idea being pitched of having a dad's perspective, because we were right 10 years ago. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff out there with fathers talking about their thoughts on how the product was being presented, because, it was steering toward PG back then. Impact was what it was. They were still very much the alternative, the gritty, the more aggressive, reality based. But we really didn't have a whole lot of perspective of dads looking at those shows together. And I know a lot of fathers were friends that liked wrestling that didn't have the outlet. And I'm glad that I see more of that now. You see more friends out there that are both parents, that are both lovers of wrestling, out there doing that. I like to think we had some sort of an impact there.
I think so.
So I do appreciate this platform that we have had together for so many years now. Again, I still can't believe the shot behind us was 10 years ago.
I know.
Today. Like it seems like it's been a flash, but it also seems like 10 sounds about right. So
Yeah.
it really just it's so crazy that it's been that long, and yet it's almost like it's only 10 years. Like you go back and forth in your mind. You really do.
Yeah. It's like, wow, it's been 10 years. It's only been 10 years.
It's just you never were gonna say, but yeah, it's bananas. But
Yeah.
I do
Without playing episode 3 because of the static and everything, can
Right.
you bring up the image
yes.
real quick of episode 3 on the screen? Because I think that is the greatest what a difference a year makes image that there ever will be in our history.
Yes, for sure. Let's see if I can do it without causing a ruckus here. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it did. Oh, shoot. Hang on. I lost it completely. Hang on. Stand by. It totally timed me out of the StreamYard altogether. Now, hang on. Hang on a second. Some bitch. If you want to share your screen again and just load the image, that's fine too.
Okay.
Mine's totally spazzing on this end completely now. Damn. Because you're right. The freaking image of us, what we're wearing, is just tremendous.
Okay, it should be there.
All right. Let's see here. Okay.
This is the greatest what a difference a year makes image that I think we possibly could have.
Yeah, look at that. Me in my
Because at this point, I am still a tried and true Ducks fan.
Yes.
My mom and my stepdad didn't start getting tickets to the Kings games until December 2011, leading into our first Cup victory.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
And
to
it was
think
at that point when I started attending the games that I started to veer more towards being a Kings fan.
Right.
And at this point, I was still a Ducks fan, totally giving you shit for not having a cup yet. And the Ducks had already had one.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I love this one. And I love the one of us in our Hogan and Roddy shirts. I love those two shows so much.
Yeah. And I remember distinctly at this point, because Dylan was what, like 2 going on 3?
Dylan had not quite turned 3 when I first moved in. He was 2 and like 4/5. Yeah, he's right on the cusp of 3.
And I remember distinctly how he would always, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. He's like, yeah, well, the Kings won a Stanley Cup.
Right, exactly.
Deal with it.
Yeah. My go-to now is
that. And then fast forward a year and a half, and we're there watching them claim their first one.
It was just, it's funny. I mentioned earlier how much our association has meant to me and how deep our friendship goes. It's like you and my dad and me and Heather and your folks are all in the building the first time we went to the Stanley Cup. I think back to you starting to go that season and doing what you could, whether it was donating blood with the hospital or winning tickets through something. You found a way to go often, and I think it's so awesome that you were able to get involved with the Kings and be a Kings fan. I think that's really awesome. I wish it had been more. There were more opportunities to go to stuff like that, and I'm grateful that you started coming, because it was good to be able to not only have somebody to go to the games with when I was down in Long Beach and not meeting and having you or whoever in the concert to go, but the train rides really bonded us. I mean, we were able to get out of the house, spend an hour or so, traveling up to LA from Long Beach, and it was. I think our friendship and our Casa's bond really came together through those train rides outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
It was really something that really built us together, brought together, and that was definitely a huge influence on our dichotomy with one another, our rapport. And like you said, we were very lucky in that you came into your Kings fandom at a time where these were about to happen, and it was just so awesome to see it unfold. So,
and I think it's ironic that here we are, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary today. Hockey season started yesterday.
Yep, both teams.
Both of those teams are playing tonight in a couple of hours.
As is Vegas, so there you go.
Yeah. Well, Vegas wasn't around 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Trying to keep with the 10th anniversary theme is like, here we are rocking those jerseys.
Yeah.
Two completely different sides of the spectrum, how things changed, like I said, just in a year time at that point. And now here we are 10 years later, both those teams are going to have opening night tonight.
Yep.
Granted, empty arenas, considering everything going on, but at least the puck is going to drop for both of those teams once again tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to watching that in a couple hours.
As am I. I'm very, very excited for that. The games start, I believe, at 7. Their pregame is 6:30. So,
yeah,
I'm very happy. Very happy that hockey's back. Very happy that we've endured. You and I went back on the air last year doing on the Jeff Meacham Network, and now your channel's been relaunched. We're on that channel right now as we speak. Doing simulcasting, which I think is awesome. I'm so happy about that. And I'm looking forward to how the future unfolds in the next year and beyond, because, now we've got everything established, it's just a matter of content, output. And
yeah,
I said a few minutes ago, without the Renegade channel, the Constantine Studios channel, I don't know if I would have ever gone back to Aaron in the first place. Number one. Number two, I don't know if I would have endured long enough in my own quote unquote career to really get this going. So it is because of having the chutzpah to move down there with you guys, with my son and his mother, and do the YouTube with you guys when I was very unconfident in my abilities, especially toward that summer. And I'm grateful, and I appreciate everybody that's been around, and everybody has stuck with me for the last year and a half, and is embracing the idea that JJ is a key player in my ultimate destiny. And I greatly appreciate you being here, Jay, and everybody out there watching that appreciates Jay as well. So thank you guys very much. Chris, I don't know if he's got on his list, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there to see if he's watched it yet.
Bachelor Party is not going to be part of Tom Hanks month this month, but trust and believe, Mr. Yuck, that Tom Hanks month is going to have a part due, if you will, because where I ended at the terminal, I believe, there's still a whole lot of stuff, both from his early years that I didn't have when I started doing this. Bachelor Party is one of those that I don't have in my repertoire yet.
Right.
And then there's so much post the terminal, because that was 2004, 2002, somewhere in there. So there's still a whole lot of Tom Hanks for me to do, and I'm not even going to touch the Toy Stories, because I know eventually I'm going to do a Pixar month, and the Toy Stories will be included in that area.
And Chris, as far as the other ones you mentioned, let me go ahead and put this up there now, because I know he's in his list for this week, let alone this month. So let me just double check here.
The Money Pit actually went live on Tuesday. I did that one. The Burbs went live today.
All right, so there you go, Chris. Right there, they're both up right now.
We were actually pre-taping an episode of Dads that'll air in February, while The Burbs was airing its premiere.
So there you go. So we are keeping busy on both channels. Like I said, tomorrow's Dragnet. That's going to be a replay on,
which is also going to air here on the Jeff Meacham Network.
Right. And then of course Turner and Hooch, and I can't see it. I'm sorry.
Joe versus the Volcano.
There you go. Yeah,
the original pairing.
I think I can't see it. So
it was the original pairing of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Before Sleepless in Seattle, before You've Got Mail.
Right.
There was
right.
that.
Yes, they had the trilogy of Meg, and God bless her for that. So yeah, that's all coming up on Jay's show this week. This week he's got those are 7 really good Tom Hanks movies that he's got for his first week. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. So there's that.
And the Money Pit and the Burbs, you know, I had never actually seen before I reviewed them, so that was kind of cool. There's a few other Tom Hanks movies that are going to be coming out mid-month that I had never seen before I reviewed them. So it was kind of cool getting to sit and watch those.
Absolutely.
What other actors do I have on deck for the coming review season? There's a few people that I've been working on my lists for, because I like to try to come up with lists ahead of time.
Right.
I've been looking into potential. I'm not going to say that I've committed yet, but I'm looking into potentially doing Sandra Bullock for a month.
Nice.
Keanu Reeves has a pretty good filmography that I'm looking to possibly dive into. Not one specific actor, but in March, since it's going to be WrestleMania season, I'm looking to do movies with wrestlers.
Right.
You know, because at the end of the day, Casa de Atún Studios did start as a wrestling channel, so it's all got to tie back into wrestling somewhere.
Right.
And what better opportunity than WrestleMania March?
Right.
To bring it all back there.
And we did so many of them. Jade and I did when we did Ringside Insanity event. There's definitely meat on the bone. We didn't touch on a lot of those movies that you can definitely dive into. So there you go.
Yeah. Some of the ones that you guys did in RSI really only had wrestlers in like bit roles or cameos.
Mm-hmm. True.
I'm trying to stay focused on movies where the wrestler is either the star or the co-star.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to present, you know, for movies with wrestlers, something like Gremlins 2, where Hulk Hogan walks in, does a scene, walks out, and that's it.
Okay. Right.
You know, or as much as I love it, Muppets from Space.
Right.
Same example, you know, Hollywood Hogan pops up, cuts an NWO style promo, and he's out of the movie.
Which I love.
You know, Kerry Von Erich in Problem Child. He's got like one scene with the villain.
Which I did not know until I was coming up with questions on, I think, either the penultimate show or the finale. And I went, wait a minute. Don't, I'm still like, you can't right now, okay, please? Yes. It went fully on there. Oh. I'm still alive on the show. I'll let you know when I'm done. I promise, okay? Okay. Thank you, buddy. Besides, it wasn't for you. I would get that wrestling anyway, so I appreciate you wanting to come in. So thank you, bud.
I just wanted to tell you my idea.
You can tell me ideas as soon as I'm done. I promise.
How long?
I don't know when we're done. Okay. Okay.
It's all good, man. You got to get the Gooby in with a little cameo every now and again.
Of course, man. Of course. And I love the suggestions we're getting here. We got Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, I'm seeing some stuff pop up.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that one with you. Yeah. Yeah.
Practical Magic is definitely on the list that I made for Sandra Bullock, because a lot of people, I was just going through their filmography and trying to see if I could find like 30 movies that I really wanted to dive into.
Yes.
And then when you find overlap, like Sandra and Keanu in Speed,
right?
You know, Sandra and Keanu in the Lake House, it's like, well, if I move those to Keanu, is there still enough for Sandra?
Right.
So, you know, trying to play the balancing act, but I do believe Practical Magic is on my list for Sandra if I get to her.
Very good. Jim Carrey
is another one that I'm pretty positive I was working out a list for, because I love Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Especially 90s Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Batman Forever, Cable Guy, Truman Show, Man on the Moon. I skipped Liar Liar on purpose because I've honestly never seen that one. Yeah, I know. I know. But see, that's the whole kick, is that there's got to be some movies in here that I've never seen too, to make me want to rope into to indulging in a month of the person.
Dude, I've
So
got the
yeah, there's some Jim
VHS of
Carrey
Liar
stuff that
Liar.
I've never seen. I've never seen Liar Liar. I've never seen some of his early stuff like Earth Girls Are Easy or Once Bitten.
Oh, Once Bitten's good.
Never seen any of those. There's some stuff that came out in the 2000s that I've never seen.
Right.
And then there's stuff that I've seen 100 times, like the movies I just named, like The Number 23, one of my favorite suspense thrillers.
Right. Yeah.
And getting to see Jim Carrey not be over the top comedic Jim Carrey and see him be a little bit darker. Like, I loved The Number 23. I love how I've got my blinds open because we need a little additional light, but I'm starting to go really dark over here because the sun is setting. I'm talking about this dark film and everything. It's just really, really ironic.
Funnier than hell.
Harrison Ford, Harrison Ford is a tough one. And I'm going to tell you why. I love Harrison Ford's career. He's had an outstanding career. But I have some months where I'm thinking about doing like trilogies. And I'm going to do the Star Wars films, obviously. That's going to be a whole saga unto itself,
Right.
as it should.
Yes.
But are there 30 decent Harrison Ford movies without including the Star Wars trilogy, the Indiana Jones foursome, the movies that have multiple sequels to them? Because there's, like I said, there's some months I'm going to do trilogies that stand on their own, like the Back to the Future trilogy, or now like the Bill and Ted trilogy, now that the third one came out last year. It used to be a sequel only, but now there's a third one to it.
Yep. I think and this is just me completely off the top of my head here, like literally in the moment thinking about this. I sent you and I sent Mikey, I sent a few people my little Star Wars schedule I have coming up for May. If you were to want to branch out beyond movies, I think May could really be a Star Wars month for you. Because you can do the first full week of, okay, it's the prequel trilogy stuff, the prequel trilogy, and the TV shows that went with it. Same with the original trilogy era. Same with the sequel trilogy era. It can really pad your month nice and tight for what it's worth. Instead of having 9 days, you got 31 days to work with in theory.
But there's already more than 9 movies though, because there's the Skywalker saga.
Well,
there's
right.
Rogue One. There's Solo. There's the 2 Ewok movies.
That's what I'm saying. If you take the Star Wars saga beyond the Skywalker saga and branch out, you get at least half your month in right there.
Right. And then for the back end of the month, I was thinking about boldly going where no man has gone before.
That's not a bad idea because you got 13 there. I do like you. Okay, I defer to you. It is your channel. You are the master. There you go. Very good. So
that's right. When it's come to the Force, you've always been the Padawan learner.
Very much so. But when it comes to the Roddenberry verse, I am definitely the
definitely, because
yeah.
I have only seen everything through Generations.
Yep.
I've never seen any of the movies that came after the initial hybrid of the two,
right, when
Next Generation spawned on its own series.
Yes, Michael, there are Ewok movies. Yes, you need to go on eBay and buy them. Yes, you need to watch them.
There are 2 of them. Yes. They were made for TV or straight to VHS. They weren't theatrical.
No.
They feature Warwick Davis as Wicket.
Yes.
And they take place in the Star Wars timeline. They take place between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
These 2 movies take place prior to the Rebels landing on there and C-3PO being mistaken for a deity and the destruction of the second Death Star.
Yes. Yeah. Trust me, guys. Like this gentleman here, we talked about it last year when we were doing our Star Wars when we returned for the first time in a while, and we did our crawl, but I had
Yeah,
to
because that was our debut episode.
It was,
for the
it was a
return.
re-debut, yeah. And I had to edit the crawl because I wasn't making money off it. It was a damn good episode. Yeah, we talked about the fact that there is life beyond the 11, very much so. And there are Ewok movies. There is a Droids cartoon animated series. There's an Ewok animated series. There are canon animated series that are on Disney Plus now. They aren't on the air anymore because
Clone Wars and Rebels.
Rebels, Resistance, and there's also the Mandalorian, who had huge touting last year, including our wrestling because of Sasha. So there is the Dreaded Holiday Special, which if you get through that, God bless you. You're a tremendous human being because my goodness, is it a train wreck.
I like to watch that every year at Christmas time just because.
Yeah.
I subject myself to it every year. And you know what? It's probably going to be in Star Wars month because it does take place timeline-wise between A New Hope and Empire.
Yeah, right.
So I
it's
definitely
roughly
make
a year after A New Hope is when it takes place. And man, when you think about I hate to besmirch those who have passed. When you think about the fact that Carrie Fisher is completely coked out for the entire run of that movie, you go, wow.
What's hilarious is Disney Plus has a Lego Star Wars holiday special.
I saw that.
And my niece was running around here during the holidays watching it like over and over again, and I never saw it from start to finish. But I did think that it was cute that they managed to tie like so much of the saga together and resurrect Life Day, which was the celebration from the holiday special, and kind of redeem the holiday special by doing it in Lego form. Like that was
just like
terrific.
Nope, doesn't exist. Not there.
But yeah, I have 1 month that I'm looking at doing that I'm calling it only 2. You know, movies that only had like the initial and a sequel, and it just kind of stopped after that.
Right. I haven't seen Sonic either, for what it's worth, Joe. So it might not be a bad idea.
I have not seen it yet, but I did buy it during Black Friday because Wally World had the Blu-ray for like $7.
Oh shit! Nice.
And I was like, I wanted to see it. The trailers looked good. It looked like it was going to be a huge comeback for Carrie as Dr. Robotnik.
Yep.
So I definitely bought it with intentions to watch it. Just haven't watched it yet.
There you go. And then one more before that, they want to know your thoughts on Denzel. I think Denzel is way, way good, and I won't say he's underrated because everybody seems to love Denzel. So I think he's a great actor. I would love to see him do more and kind of branch out instead of doing. He kind of does the same type of thing. He's always in some sort of overly dramatic role rather than occasionally hitting the levity, you know? So
I do enjoy Denzel. This might get me to lose some fans saying this, but like there's not a whole lot of Denzel movies that I can think of off the top of my head that I just like, oh my God, that is a classic film that I have to watch. Denzel has made some amazing films, don't get me wrong. The problem is I haven't seen a good chunk of his filmography. I've seen American Gangster. I did enjoy that film. I adored him in Philadelphia, which I had only seen once prior to me watching it to review it for Tom Hanks Month. So I just absolutely adored him in that. But other than those, like I know people are going to throw out like Training Day and stuff, but I've never seen Training Day. I definitely am going to have to. What was that?
I said, I Remember the Titans was the first one I actively saw of his, and I love that movie. So there's that.
I definitely need to do my research on Denzel to see if I can come up with 30 days worth that would be solid content to to live up to his acclaim and his accolades.
Definitely. And we will definitely see how it all, because like I said, JJ's got pretty much his little booklet in mind for the next 11 months. So we'll see how he plays out on this channel down here, the Constantine Studios channel, which is every single day you get a movie review from JJ. Of course, this month, as I said, is Tom Hanks. You're seeing what's up this week so far. We've had Splash, Money Pit, Big, and The Burbs go up. And then Dragnet tomorrow on both our channels. Of course, it'll be replayed here on my channel, the Jeff Beach Network. Turner and Hooch Saturday, and Go versus the Volcano on Sunday. And then Monday, when Talk Wrestling goes live, we'll have more previews for next week.
Yes, and just to go ahead and get it out there, I think I've mentioned it on a couple of our other shows, but during the month of January, I will be having Jeff on an episode. We're going to be talking about A League of Their Own. So that I'm going to have him as a guest on that one. And then when I do the Green Mile, I'm going to be having Stat Boy, Mike Caldwell, join me on that one to join me and everything. Thank you, Joe. I do greatly appreciate that. I was kind of joking with Jeff the other day because Splash on his network has more views currently than Splash on my network. It's like, okay, well, let's try to get the views up over on the home network where all the episodes are airing.
Yeah, right.
So, that's kind of why we're doing this right here is, we've got the little audience for the time being. Let's get the marketing out there, brother. Push.
That's it. So yeah, that'll be coming up in Chicago Fun. I'll go ahead and answer this for Jay, and we'll go ahead and try to get out of here because I'm getting a wrap up from the head of the table here. No, not Roman Reigns. I like John Travolta. I know Jay does too. I just don't know if we've got 3 days worth, right? There's a lot of stuff that's been really good, a lot of stuff that hasn't. So I don't know about 30 days of John Travolta.
But you can't play favoritism either. You've got to watch movies that are garbage every once in a while, For every Saturday Night Fever, for every Pulp Fiction, there's going to be a Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You kind of, like they said in the 80s, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
The facts of life.
Really quickly before we get out of here, I'm going to pre-plug February. February, we're going to have it's going to be a double theme month. The first half of the month, from the 1st to the 14th, is going to be nothing but chick flicks, rom-coms, that type of thing, leading into Valentine's Day. And from the 15th through the 28th is going to be kind of a Black History Month with a focus on, movies about African American heritage and important people in African American culture. We're going to kick it off with Roots, the epic miniseries. We're going to delve into Marshall, which stars Chadwick Boseman as Thurgood Marshall. We're going to do 42, which stars Chadwick Boseman as Jackie Robinson. We're going to get into Straight Outta Compton. We're going to do some of the 70s blaxploitation films. We're going to talk about Shaft and Foxy Brown, Richard Roundtree and Pam Grier, respectively. John Singleton's epic Boys in the Hood, which made Ice Cube a big name actor. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up in February, even though it's only 28 days. There's a lot of stuff jammed into the month. So hopefully you will tune in for the rest of Tom Hanks month and then the coming months as we continue on our journey.
I assume Friday will fall into the trilogy month.
Yes.
Kind of figured. Okay. All right, kids. Well, thank you for sticking with us for the hour and a half. I know that the middle part of that kind of got a little wonky with the staticky. I don't know why that's happening, and I'm sorry. So we are, like I said, we are always working on making things better here on the Jeff Beach Network. videos. If you're watching the Jeff Mitchell Network, you can super chat now. You can throw me the proverbial bone here, because even $1 goes a long way to getting equipment upgraded, getting Wi-Fi, everything, guys. And that's the thing. I found out what's going on with the Wi-Fi around here, and I am going to work on that this weekend to make it less chaotic for Monday's show. So it's just a tape show on my side. We're going to have the network air two tapes. We're actually going to have the trivia trivia for now. I should say myself, Chris Cass, David Diaz for the first round match, triple threat for the trivia contention on the NerdQ.com Wrestling Trivia Challenge, and of course the replay of JJ's review of Dragon tomorrow here on both channels for the trivia, and of course both channels at different times for my channel for the trivia, and both channels at different times for Dragon Dance. I think, guys,
Yes.
I'm all flustered. I'm sorry. So
No, it's all good. I do want to point out
much.
one thing Joe said. You're absolutely right, Joe. You never know when one of those bad movies can become a guilty pleasure.
That's it. You don't. You
There
really
have
don't.
been so many of those that have become guilty pleasures for me.
Yeah, there's a few movies in my collection that people go, "How do you watch that?" It's like, because I like it. Like, I can't explain it. I just like it. It's nobody
The
else
Star
does,
Wars
but
Holiday Special is a guilty pleasure for me.
There's
There's so many reasons not to like it, but for some reason I just kind of get a kick out of it. So
people tend to shit on the quote unquote odd numbered movies of the Star Trek universe. I love Star Trek 3, and people hate it, and I love it. People don't like Star Trek Insurrection, and I enjoy that movie for what it is. By the same token, Halloween movies. People universally shit on 5. I don't have a huge problem with 5. I really don't. I detest Resurrection with a bloody passion. I hate that.
People also shit on part 3, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's no Michael.
Well, right,
if you watch it in the context that there's not going to be a Michael, and what it was supposed to be a completely different standalone, it's not a horrible movie.
No, Season of the Witch in and of itself is a damn good horror movie. It's creepy. It's pretty gross at times, but it stands off alone pretty good. By the same token, people shit like Triceratops Jurassic Park level shit on the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. I love those friggin' movies. I really do. And I even enjoy part 2. People really, really poop on part 2. I like part 2. I know we had this talk a few months ago on there. If you take out the fact that it's Michael Myers, if you have it be any other character that evolves over those 2 movies, same basic story, they're fantastic for horror movies. I'm not a horror movie fan, so I can't say I'm an expert or whatever. I enjoy the arc that those 2 movies take. And yes, they are supposed to be Michael Myers movies, but John Carpenter told Rob himself, "You do you, boo." And he did. John ended up shitting on him for it, but he did. So, I admire Rob's chutzpah, and I agree with his decision. After he was like, I can't. He didn't want to do part 2 even. He was done with it. But he got up enough to do part 2. I thought he did great for what he did. And after he was like, "You're not getting me back because this was taxing. I can't even possibly do a third one. No way." And he didn't. And by the grace of God, Blumhouse and the people behind the Halloween movies now got the rights to it, and I cannot wait for October 15th at all. I'm like, because by the way, I don't have the ability to go here, but since you're here, I'll make the announcement here. Last year I tried to do a all-day marathon of the movies that were out at present, and I myself out because I was up at 4 a.m. I started at 6. I went all the way through the day. I was exhausted, much like I am now. You kind of see in my face how much shit I look like. So in October, on the Michael Myers Twitter page, which I'll plug later next week, it'll be 11 days of Halloween, one day on the Twitter, just like I did last year. Streaming them all, but one day at a time. And then on the 31st, come hell or high water, if they come, the creek don't rise. We're gonna have that panel on Halloween, because hopefully in those 2 weeks, everybody in that group will have seen it. Halloween Kills. Have a viable opinion on the entire saga up to that point. So it will be a spoiler-heavy show, without question. But once they see it. But I do want to get that panel in Halloween. I know I'm looking 9 months ahead. I'm being ridiculous. I understand that. But I have come to love these movies so much. They belong in they belong having the place on my network outside of wrestling. And I'm going to give them the platform. So there you go.
Okay.
So there's that. So the first round, first match, triple threat. Myself, Greg Cherry hosting as champion. David Diaz, Chris Castle, myself contending for a moving on to the next round opportunity in the trivia match. God help me. And then the replay of Dragnet from JJ. That'll be tomorrow on both channels. Trivia, of course, on the Jeff Feature Network. Thank you for sitting through this. Again, I know it was a techno craze. I don't mean the music. So, although it sounds like the music. Exactly. I forgot. Thank you guys, and thank you for enjoying this for 10 years. And if you've put up with this for 10 years, God bless you, man. We love you for that. We do.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed doing this, and thank you for letting me take over the last part of the show to just plug the shit out of Renegades Reviews.
Not a problem, man. You know what? It's kind of one of those things where I saw where the wind was blowing, and it was time to put the windbreaker up. So that's what I did. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the trivia and for the Renegade Reviews, and Monday, of course, right back.